Hi, Mohammed. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, Zambia, Lusaka, Mungwi, Mongo, Kazungula, Chipata, and Kajolola, Makonde, Mbala, Kaputa, and Chiengi. Good evening and welcome to today's broadcast of TV Bakwetu. We do understand that our numbers today are competing with one of Zambia's most popular activists. And so we still go ahead because we also cannot just hold off from our show because another person is presenting. So the show must go on, General. Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Musha, and greetings from Bonny, Scotland. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, Zambia, beautiful Zambia. Good evening, my home, Chipata, Kasama, Mongu, Kabwe Central, Kabwe Self, Lusaka, Livingstone, Zimba, and the people of Freira or Luangwa tonight. I'm saying it's a good evening, it's a good day because things are happening, Musha.
General, you shouldn't be too general and say things are happening. We need to know what things are happening.
Change is here, Musha. Change is here. The transition has begun. That's what I'm saying. Things are happening.
Right.
That's what I mean. And I'm sure your viewers, when I say change is here, they know what I'm talking about. Change is here. The transition is on. So that's what I can say. That's why I'm smiling. Because yesterday I was very emotional because I just didn't realize that I would see the actual transition take place at about 3 o'clock in the morning. That was just unbelievable. But here it is, the whole day, transition is started happening, and Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the 6th president of Zambia, has conceded defeat and has accepted to move on, which is fantastic. And what is also very interesting is to see the service chiefs going to say goodbye to the outgoing president and going to salute the incoming president and saying, our commander-in-chief, we are waiting for you to be sworn in. To me, that's a good sign. It's a sign of transition.
Yes, indeed. But thank you, General, for that well spoken intro. Mr. Saliki, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
So today I took a drive off to Community House, and I found that it's very interesting. There were so many of your colleagues, General, because you belong to the UPND, I belong to the NDC, but your party, I found so many youths from your party, General, and we had wonderful discussions, and we took a lot of selfies. And General, this is what they said, and I feel very, very humbled about it. they said thank you for the role that we played on TV Bakwetu. Now, I don't know what role that is, General.
I'm the youth. I'm the youth amongst us. I think I will try and answer this question. I'll try and answer this question for you. I think for you, Mr. Musha, become with Bill 10. As young people, a lot of times we were misinformed. We were never given the right information. And with TV Bakwetu, we got an access where you started getting actual information. You started getting proper analysis of things being done. And for once in our lifetime, there was a new message. There was a different way of thinking. There was a promotion of having a different way of thinking. Like I have to say, it's not every time that you and General agreed on everything. We got an honest analysis of how things were supposed to be. And that's how a country is supposed to be. And can I just add, when we see the colors of our political parties, that should not be a symbol of division in our country. That should be a symbol of individuality and one's desire to follow one's free will. That we can have a discussion, we can have a constructive disagreement in the betterment of our country. But the colors of our party should not become a symbol of our division, but it should add to all of us. And what we've had for our young people in this time, they feel there was a discussion, and they feel for the first time they were informed on what is going on. And that's what a lot of young people needed. We saw at the end of the campaign, all these people like GBM and Chimbo will come in with all that information. And young people at that point had learned. And they said, we're not going to accept that message. You're not going to divide us. We know who we are as Zambian people. And well done for everybody in Zambia for saying no to tribalism, no to division. We are all one people. And remembering, no matter what color you wear, if you can't afford to send your children to school, the other person in different color can't. If you are having one meal a day, the other person in different color is also having one meal a day. So what is important, despite what political parties we have, is that the political leaders from now on, they debate the important aspects: education, social care, the things that really matter. That never again as a country should we allow people to campaign along tribal lines.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. The issue that I found is, General, sometimes when we are on air here, we are on Facebook, it appears like we are only on Facebook. And so it was quite surprising to actually see that this is the kind of impact that our TV Bakwetu and various presenters here have on the ground. And it was a very humbling experience, I think. We have never exaggerated our importance in the system, and in fact, I wouldn't want us to over-exaggerate our importance to the campaign to the Hichilema campaign. But it was quite enriching and very humbling to see that our friends, your friends, General, your political party appreciates what was going on here. And so that was very humbling. The second experience that I had, General, today was a police officer calls me by the side. Now, it wasn't at the residence at all. It wasn't at community house somewhere else in Kabwata. And they tell me that they were among a list of officers that were either demoted or harassed just for being non-Eastern or non-Bemba. Now, I just want to make it very clear that we dislike tribalism. We hate it here. And we don't just say that we don't like it. We actually point it out, mention it, and condemn it. We don't just use general terms like we don't want tribalism. And so it was very, very hurting to see that there is actually people in the police service who were deliberately excluded on the basis of either them being a southerner, a northwesterner, or a westerner. That's what I was told. And may this new government that is going to take over never do this, never tolerate it. We are one country. Do not remove people from positions on the basis of where they come from.
Can I just add to that? We are watching the government. Like we've always said, if they're not doing the things that we're doing, we're going to be sat here 5 years from now. And I hope this is going to be a start. It's going to be we're not going to watch our country. It's got to be a start of something that is going to bring about real significant change. This election for a lot of people was about hope. And they looked at one man and say, you are the hope for all of us. They looked at one person who says, who can unify our country? And it's important we understand this. And Dr. Kaunda tried this a lot. When I speak to a lot of older people, they talk about how he made sure that people were transferred across the country, that they didn't just stay in one place, that it was true one Zambia, one nation. That never again should we let it be that one person divides us so much. That never again should we look at our neighbor and say, that person is different to me because they don't speak my language. We all should work on one page. We should all sing from the same hymn sheet and follow that significant. For me, I think of the police officers in the Western Province. Remember, they lost their jobs, and one of them even died later on because of how unfairly being dismissed because of colorism and tribalism and everything else.
Right.
That the power should go back to the police officers. The power should go back to the people. Generally, trying to listen to me twice. And the power should go back. The power should always go back to the people on a consistent basis. And as people, for me, what is important as a country, there's certain things that we accept, whether it's tribalism or whether it's corruption. There are certain things that we should start as people and go, maybe if I give somebody a bit of money and they do me a favor, maybe we should understand as a society that maybe we're contributing to the downfall of our own country. So certain things that we have to think about and certain things that we have to reject. And as Mr. Hichilema comes into power, he has to remember that the people have given the power to lead, not the power to rule.
Thank you. Musha, you said something about the people appreciating what we've done. I spent the whole day today. By the way, I slept late yesterday, and our viewers, I was going to bed at about 4:45 this morning. And
so
I
you
was
slept
up,
this morning, not yesterday.
Not yesterday. I slept this morning and I was up again at about 8:30 to be ready for work. Now, the phone calls I've received, the messages I've received to say thank you are just amazing. From all the structures of UPND, from the highest office to the Secretary General's office, to the Chairman's office, to the officials, just to say thank you to you, Munsha and Frank and Bakwe to TV. Just amazing. I found that very, very interesting to get these comments coming through. I also got an independent TV station saying, Munsha, they want us on, using his own words. Kennedy Mambwe said, Achpakpako and Munsha, how did you demolish the PF propaganda? Just the two of you. I said, what do you mean? He says, that's exactly what you did. And I said, I didn't realize that. He says, that's exactly what you did. You demolished their propaganda. Whatever they brought up, you guys, you took it up. So, Munsha, are you ready to join TV KBN Live, State of the Nation? Is it tomorrow? He wants you in the studio in Lusaka, and I'll be here. Just he wants us to answer the question: how did we demolish them? Did we demolish them? We didn't.
I don't think so, because sometimes when you are throwing punches, generals, you don't feel that that you are throwing punches. You were just innocent. Was receiving blows. I wouldn't be surprised. I think yes, you may have contributed to that. But General, I want you to be humble. When I tell you, General, you helped demolish this Kelenka government, you are going to be proudful. And so I want you to remain humble.
I've always remained humble. The number of messages I receive, I told people I've contributed my small bit. There are a lot of other people out there who have done a lot, especially our structures, the UPND structures. I know because I've been in touch with them every day. Some of them really struggling. Some of them, they fought hard, especially the young people, the youth. And to me, really, I want to acknowledge that Gilbert Liswaniso and his team did us proud, especially the last 24 hours. I was very, very worried. I kept on ringing him and saying, Gilbert, show that you are a different party from PF. Please keep your young men safe. To make sure that you keep them disciplined. Don't destroy anything. Don't touch anything. Don't try anything. And Gilbert was fantastic. He kept his word. He kept his word. Right. It was difficult for him, but he kept his word. So really, that is this election, this change of government is to the youth. To the youth of Zambia decided to change this government. Now, let me also address the issue where Frank said, and you said, you need this government to address some of the issues, like the issue of the policemen being demoted and transferred, and because their tribes were wrong, that their names were wrong. That is a thing which will have been tackled head on. We've had doctors retired, we've had police officers retired, we've had army officers retired, we've had senior civil servants retired, we've had people being refused to jobs in ZESCO because your surname doesn't look right. That will stop. And HH said it today. It's stopping today because the transfer of power is today. He will be sworn in, but the transfer of power is today. That's why those police chiefs and the service chiefs have moved to his house. That's why they're protecting him. From now on, the story will be different. Our people will be employed on merit. And I'm sure he made it very, very clear of yours that those who were retired unfairly, as soon as he's sworn in, he's calling them back and giving them their jobs. I wouldn't be surprised that Shapa Wakungu will be coming back because he was fired unfairly.
Right.
So there will be a change of there is a change of government. There will be a different administration. The attitude will be different. There will be no tribalism accepted. There will be no firing people in public interest just because they're suspected to be PF or DP. So that will be gone. But it simply means we have to address the actual people. I mean, yesterday we were broadcasting live. Somebody said her daughter was 26 years old, was just fired because she was married to somebody they suspected was a UPND. At work, no, you're married to a UPND member. I'm sorry, you can't continue employing you. That is sad.
Yeah.
So over to you, Moshe.
Yes, indeed. And those are some of the stories that I am receiving right on the ground, and so it's good to be on the ground. General, today, President-elect had a speech, and then after the speech, they then went off to have a meeting with President Lungu and President Arabi and former President Kikwete of Tanzania. It appears to have been a very good meeting. I think they pretended to smile and they pretended handshakes and everything else. Here is my take. Here is my take on this. General, are you ready for my take or no?
Please go ahead, Musha.
Oh, come on.
The issue of taking pictures looks good. I think pictures are good. But the seriousness of the leadership is and I think we need to be firmer now so that we establish a paradigm for the future. Because if we tolerate this kind of doing things now, it means then that the incoming president might do it. In other words, he ignores common sense approaches. He ignores respect for others. And then so, what needs to be happening here is that President Lungu should actually be apologizing to the people of Zambia. Not ukuchensa fye. If the reason is, in his 7 years of the presidency, he has arrested this gentleman several times. Okubabula hichirema, okubaposa mu kifungo, n'okushingamu amafi abantu. Not that at Mwasanga Fiat Muchifongo Filafina abantu kunia fia paliponse. Nomba basenda amafi omuntu wania. Elo baya mushingira mu seo yako. Emo bamubika. I want you to let this sink in for a little bit. But it does not end there. It continues on until the very last day of the election, where the gentleman stands up and says that Uyumuntu nkamuikata next week nganawina. Pantu, ewashitishe KCM, and everything else. We were appealing to the president, Imweba Lungu, take Hakainde Hichilema, go and sit down together, have coffee, project an image of unity to our country. It's very important. While you are leading, provide that. During the death of Kenneth Kaunda, Vatanomunaboka invitation card. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, it's because it's serious and it matters. So I cannot be deceived or overtaken by a picture that they take in 3 seconds and forget about all these injustices that happened in the past. And the reason why we need to insist on this, Frank, and the reason why we need to insist on this is so that Hakainde Hichilema as president learns it. Learns that he will be treating people fairly, not on the last day when abantu bamufunyapo babika poinene mwina chiwempala. Elo nombanga rakutira bale nchusha wa Hichilema bakese tekanya. No. We want him to be treating people fairly today. Every human being treated fairly, accorded basic rights, nothing like just trumped up charges. Umuntu bapusana fipa msebo mwaikata it's treason. Mwayamuposa mumafi. Nayo amafi no that amafi yashan fresh feces umuntu wania elo nombaba yashinga the entire cell the emobamuposa. It's very, very sad. It's humiliating. We want to see that this government starts on a good note. A clear warning from the citizens of our country that we are not going to tolerate abuse of human rights of any citizen. And this arbitrary arrest of people, bantu mwapsana na nkwe mwaikata mwaposa mchifungo, that has got to stop. And it is not going to just stop at the end. No.
Yeah.
This idea that uchula no kuchula mulela ndapo te kuchula kwa that they're spending sleepless nights, moving in the dark or anything like that. Kuchula kwa that mwaba chusha. You assault them. You beat them up. That is not right.
I agree. I absolutely agree with everybody, I think there was this bit of everybody when I saw the images and this kind of people posting saying, look at reconciliation. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, that should not be acceptable. And we can't just make a step and say, oh, look, they've made up and all is fine. Well, there are pictures and we have to make a decision as a country that says that should never happen to anyone. Because yesterday it was Mr. Hichilema. Tomorrow it might be somebody else. It is a cycle that has to be stopped. And as a country, we can't just say we've got a new government, we have to move on. For me, there are consequences to pay. There are players in the campaign who need to be punished for what they did. There has to be a price to pay for what they've done to the country, for the confusion they tried to cause in the country. We can't just move on. I've seen some of the players who were horrible to Mr. Hichilema, who were horrible to the Tonga people, saying congratulations, the people have chosen you.
There, right?
Yeah. And you're thinking, no, we can't just move on like that. We haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten. Because some of the things that he said, that they said, could have really been, we could have been the next Rwanda. It could have caused so much confusion in our country. And we cannot, as the people of Zambia, just say, right, the person we want to win an election has won, so we can just brush that under the carpet. We simply cannot do this. We have to hold our leaders to the standard. We have to say, this is a standard that we want you to be at. And this is a standard that we need you to operate at. And not just saying, let's all move on. I think we've done so much moving on that we're actually just leaving rubbish behind us. We can't move on. There has to be consequences for their actions. That people have to know that if they behave a certain way, my country will not accept this. And there has to be a price to pay for what I am, for me, I feel some people have to be prosecuted for what they said, because some of it was endangering the security of our country and the peace that we've enjoyed for a long time.
Musha and Frank, it's very, very difficult for me because I am a member of UPND and I saw all these horrible things. And every time I talk of Lawrence Banda, I feel very emotional because I saw what happened. Not that I was there, but I was seeing it live happening on video. I saw what happened to HH, how he was mistreated. The people who mistreated him, some of them are known. Moshe, the people who went to arrest HH on that day, half of them were PF cadres dressed in uniform. We know that. We know that. We know some of them. And
I need more evidence about that. I'm sorry.
You need more. You need more evidence. We can give you the evidence if you want. But what I'm saying is that, despite having known that those people who arrested HH and mistreated him that day, and even went and shit in his house, there is a film, a video. They destroy his house. They do everything. They take the food. They take everything, and somebody goes to a corner of the house to shit in his house and left, laughing. This man is now your president. Whoever did shit in HH's house, and we know that person is a woman. This is now the man who's going to be your president. How will you look at his face? How will you look at him? How will they look at the face of this girl was shot, the boy was shot, the people who have got pangas? I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
If I was in HH's position, I would have been mad. But HH is not like that. But doesn't mean that the law will not take its course. Anybody who committed crime, I think I said it yesterday, anybody who violated the law will face the law.
Yeah.
That's how simple it is. What we're only not going to do is to say we revenge and do to them what they did to us, what they did to HH, because that would be unfair. That will not happen. We don't want that to happen. But if there's anybody in the police, anybody at Kamgodi, anybody in PF, anybody who violated the law, I can assure you the law will visit them. The law will visit them.
What I want, General, is I want one of the 48 houses, since they've got no owners, so the government can sell those or buy one. So we cannot go. We've got no owners.
So welcome to our panelists tonight. Please, as usual, can you make sure that you mute yourselves until you're called to speak, so that we don't get any feedback? And I was saying to our viewers, this is the first day of a new Zambia. The first day of a new Zambia, because it started with the commanders of the armed forces.
Mbuya, Timmy H, could you kindly...
There's somebody with a... Okay, thank you so much, Timmy. With commanders in chief, the commanders of the forces, the Army, Air Force, National Service, Police, including Kanganja, going to say to the outgoing commander-in-chief, thank you very much, sir. We are now moving to go, and we will protect you. We'll leave people to protect you, but our responsibility now, by the Constitution, we now have to shift to the new incoming president. And when they do that, which means they've briefed him, the OP have briefed him, and then they salute him and give him the last salute as commander-in-chief. The four of them turn back and head straight to HH's house and give their commander-in-chief the first salute as commander-in-chief, even before he's sworn in, to show the actual transition. And this is the transition which could have been done as soon as the chairman of the Electoral Commission, if he had not delayed the results. This could have been done on the first day. If Mr. Lungu saw exactly what was happening, he would have considered. That was going to trigger that transition. So that transition has happened, but there was a meeting also in the president, our sixth president, Mr. Rupia, His Excellency Rupia Banda, His Excellency Kikwete, and other diplomatic observers. They met. What they discussed, I don't know, but I think they must have been appealing to the man to say, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, the results are clear. You must concede defeat. You must have a clear transition. And I think that is what they discussed. So I think the meeting must have been chaired by His Excellency Rupia Banda, but that's a private meeting, so we don't know. We will know very shortly what was discussed. But they took the pictures. I think those are the pictures which saved the face of Mr. Lungu, because he was not courageous enough to come to phone HH and say congratulations and call ZNBC and address the nation and say, look, I concede, I wish the new incoming president the best. He couldn't do that. He had to be forced. So those photographs you saw were to assure the nation to say the transition is now on. So that is the story, ladies and gentlemen. Then the incoming president addressed the press. He was straight. He was so honest. He answered questions. He actually said, I want you to ask me any questions. My style is ask me any question, I'll answer it. It was such a breath of fresh air today to see a president answering questions. So that is where we are, gentlemen. There is Article 105 of the Constitution, which states when the president should be sworn in. If there's no petition, he has to be sworn within 7 days after the declaration. So it's over to our panelists tonight. I will start with the lady. Oh, should I start with Timmy? Timmy, are you at home?
Oh, yes, I'm back now after a massive, 2 weeks on the ground, try to campaign and vote. Anyway, before I start, greetings to you, General. Muliuli badada.
Akora Chomene. Akuru, how are you feeling? How did you feel yesterday when the results were announced?
I was elated. I was this close to the ceiling. Because me, every time there's an election, 2 weeks before, I always go out on the ground. So I had this time around used a different strategy because I'm one of them that was deemed as having spoken against the president. So the likelihood of getting arrested was high. But, being a military person, I used my tactics I was in. Everything was done. We demolished the stronghold. We tore down all the evil altars. And we lured a lot of people and told them to say there's hope. And hope is with the new government. Don't be swayed, deceived, or be blinkered. See it on your face, thinking that if you stay with them, they got nothing to offer. You literally have hand-to-mouth resources. You need to change your perception on how you're seeing things. There's a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. Just come along with us. It might be dark now, but there's hope and a better tomorrow. And that's the message I took on the ground. And thank God, this time around, we are victors. And I want to thank the people of Zambia. I want to appreciate you, Comrade Norman, my mbuya from Luapola, Chwempala. Elias, fantastic work that you came up with to disseminate this message so that the people have a broader perspective of what is ahead of them, what they have in the current, that is not something that they should settle for. Me, I have no kind words for the outgoing president, gospel truth. The man messed up. 7 good years wasted down the drain because the person is just inept and incompetent. No more cadarism. This thing has come to an end, and I bless the name of the Lord. I've got qualifications. If I went to Zambia, I can't have a job right now. But there's a Cadex grade 7 dropout just because he espouses to the violence of Lungu and is given the platform. It will never happen again, not even in the next 1,000 years. And I bless the people of Zambia for the courage. I bless them. Thank you so much, Zambians. I love you so much.
Thank you, Timmy. Timmy, still a big job ahead of us. Winning an election and delivering our manifesto are two different things. So this is the beginning of a big task. But I'm very happy to see comments like Grace Zulu Moyo say, I just felt good to listen to a head of state who knew what he was talking about. The first day, people listen to that president and they're saying they're feeling good, listening to a person who knows what he's talking about. Okay, let's go to Gladys. I'll go around. After Gladys, Father Pombo stand by. And after Father Pombo, go to my brother Mohammed and Mim, and then Beauty, and then the headman himself will be the last today. Over to you, Gladys. Be brief, please. How are you feeling?
I'll try. I'm feeling good, General. I tried to contact you, and apparently I know that you were busy. And I'll try to be brief, though it's very difficult. I'm so thankful to all you out there, all you ladies out there, and all you gents on the platform. And congratulations to all of us. I'm really feeling great and high. And thank you very much for TV Bakwe too. You have no idea how much you have educated and how much you have drawn the youth. Because when I started listening to your program, that was when they were talking about Bill 10. I had no idea what was this Bill 10. I've been listening to it in different channels. I had no idea. I couldn't get it. When I listened to Vamunsha and also Vasangwa, you could articulate thoroughly to our level, because not everybody understands law. Even if we do law, we do it in the basics, but you try to go deeper. And I started getting interested more and more and started getting closer to your TV channels. I'm really amazed how much you have educated most of us. It's just not about the campaign, but you have educated many and continue doing the great work by Munsha and also by General. Please continue doing a great work and don't underestimate yourself. And I'll comment on the speech about our incoming president. I felt joy. I was at work when I was listening to it. I felt that he has that wisdom, that power in his voice, that authority. It really warmed my heart that we really have the president who has the wisdom, and who has I don't know, the passion just to motivate many to listen to him. And I also listened to Nawa. He sent a video where he spoke about all these defectors which are coming from PF, and I'm strongly still standing on it that no, we have the alliance that is okay, because we have the same ideology. And if we see all these defectors, trust me and follow your intuition that they mean no good. If they could come now that they want to join UPND, where were they all this time? They were there inflicting our president, who really need for the moment. I think he needs some kind of therapy. He's been incarcerated. He's been tortured mentally and physically, and you could see that the wisdom which he has been using, the energy which he has been using, it's not by man. He has been carrying this is an anointed man, and do not touch the anointed. If he was to shot, like somebody was wishing him dead, he could have been shot, but God said no. It was not his time, and he's never gonna be shot. He's gonna live until he gets 100 years. I'm so really happy. I have so many to share. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we have this wind of change. And please kindly continue.
Thank you so much, Gladys. It's a good start. That speech made my day, and the way the vice president is handling herself as well, fantastic. It has brought calmness in the whole country. It's very interesting talking to the policemen, talking to the army officers, talking to, everybody's now calm. They're feeling calm, and they're feeling very, very secure today. Father Pombo, how are you feeling tonight, and what have you heard from Zambia? Please be brief, please. Unmute yourself, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much. We thank God again today for the peaceful transition. And we hope our new president or incoming president all the best success. Today I received some comments and phones from my friends in the Copper Belt especially, but also from my friends here in Italy, because some of them have been following what was happening in Zambia, especially that they hear from Italy especially, we hear the trend of violence in voting, insofar as voting is concerned in African nations. So where the peaceful transition comes in, they get very much surprised and they ask themselves questions. So I've received from many friends of mine here in Italy compliments. They have been really appreciating the maturity. They have realized the maturity in the Zambian political situation, apart from whatever has happened. I mean, the violence and the like. So thanks to God, and I think the people they appreciate. Many friends of mine, they are even ready. If sanity is being brought in, especially the security in Zambia, I have a lot of friends who love going to Livingstone and all those game parks there. they come in peace, but there was not peace for the past 5 years. I think it was very difficult even for a number of tourists to come and visit. So a lot of them have a number of 50 people that maybe next year, if Zambia would continue with the vaccination program, which I hope the new president is going to look at it, at that question, to vaccinate, because that is the only way to attract investors and the tourists. If we are not going to get vaccinated, I think we will lose a lot of tourists needing to come and visit our country. So I was thinking in the transaction, the change of government, General Shipaku Paku, one of the points which needs to be not to be forgotten, I think, is to get the full list of the people who have died under gassing when the country was being gassed, the innocent people who have died, and probably also the other Zambians who have been killed during the political violence. And probably I suggest they propose a monument with all these names, because the souls of the departed are also with us. If the Zambians today, they were saying, the founder of UPND, what is the name, please? Can you help me?
Anderson Mazoka.
Anderson Mazoka. The Gary Kombo was saying, the soul of Anderson Mazoka now will rest in peace. So I think not only Anderson Mazoka, all the people now who have died because of violence and the gassing, I think it's fundamental for us to reconcile also with these brothers and sisters who we have lost. Then the second and last one is, I think maybe, I don't know when it will be conducive for you, General Shipaku and Council Ash Munsha, to also tackle the question of the business around the profit, the so-called profits, and the so-called self-made, I think, pastors. I know Zambia is a Christian nation, but I think it is a very serious question to tackle. Ian Genesis, that guy, in a serious country, is supposed to be, I think they are supposed to ban him because they are dangerous. These people are very dangerous. We cannot play on the minds of innocent and poor people especially. I want to nominate other false prophets who are doing great harm to innocent Zambians. So General Shipaku, please, on that case, if I thought there will be an occasion, it's one of the points that is supposed to be tackled in Zambia. Yeah.
Thank you, Father Pombo. There are two issues here. The issue of the people who have died. Yes. All the people who have died who are members of UPND, we've got that list. We've got the complete list, because the party is still supporting the children or parents of these people. We've got that list. Whether we can get the full list of the people who died because of gassing, we can do our best. I think that's a good thing. We can go town by town and identify them and see what can be done. I will propose that through the Secretary General's office or the Vice President's office. The next one is the issue of the apostle, the so-called men of God. During this campaign, I just don't know how many phone calls I got from these men of God. Yeah. All of them saying, Mr. Shipaku Paku, can you tell HH to phone me on this number because I've got something special for him? I said, no. I said, he knows how to read the Bible. HH knows how to read the Bible. No, you must ask him to phone me. I said, no, I will not do that because he knows how to read his Bible. So we've had so many of these things. And I think this last government has taken advantage of that. And I'm
Yes.
sorry to say this. It's
Yeah.
poverty. It's poverty.
Yes.
It's all about poverty. When people are poor, they can be cheated by crooks using the Bible, using the name of Christ to actually make money from people.
Yes. Yes.
And that has to be tackled. That
Very
has to be
much.
tackled.
It has to be tackled because we are losing a lot of youth, very genuine youth who are believing in the so-called, let me just mention that, the so-called do as I say money. It doesn't exist. There is no money which comes in when somebody orders you to do something. It doesn't exist. I think HH is very smart. It talks about hardworking, education. That's fundamental. Through education, we can achieve a lot. But the so-called do as I say money, it destroys people. I am working at the hospital in the psychiatry. I have 2 patients coming from Nigeria. They don't want to allow themselves to get cured because they did the so-called do as I said money. So having failed what they were ordered to do for them, they are convinced that they are going to die. They can't live anymore. They don't live. Yeah.
So I think, Father Pombo, that is a topic for another day. I don't want it to spoil our day today. But I just wanted to let you know and our viewers know that the last 3 months I've received, me personally received, I don't want to tell you who these people are. I've received messages, call me now and tell HH to call me. And I've said no. Because it's, HH knows how to read his Bible. Oh, thank you so much, Father Pombo. Let's go to my brother from my mother from Chipata, Mohammed, who's also in Leicester. How are you feeling today, Bambo?
Couldn't feel much better than I didn't sleep yesterday in elation. Obviously, it was expected, but wishing everybody in Zambia good tidings, because if I can take up from today's discussion on first and foremost with HH's speech, it was, I think it was one of those most elegant speech ever given by HH, because I have been following HH for some time, and his speech articulated everything what Zambia is going through now, and he addressed it so beautifully. It reminded me of when Nelson Mandela was released from Paul's prison, and when he took that walk, and at the Cape Town Municipal Hall, Civic Center Hall, he gave a speech on a reconciliation basis, but how to develop the country forward. Today, when I saw that speech, a man who was traumatized by this government, by the opposition for so long, by the government that was in there. This man reminded me of Nelson Mandela's own struggle. 27 years of him staying at Robben Island was resonated well for me today. And, this is something I would salute this man. And Zambia are actually blessed. We are blessed to have a man who is still young, in terms of his age, 59 or something is not a very old age. We have somebody he could deliver Zambia to a level which will be an example for many. So to me, we had Kwame Nkrumah starting the African Revolution. Then we had Mandela with his freedom speech. Then we have now got the new Mandela in Hakainde. I mean, what more can we say? Really, it's so touching. I feel very emotional today because our country has gone through a real torrid time. When you see the ordinary citizens on the streets of Zambia, and I go to Zambia very frequently, I see them suffering. And poor guys, they were so obedient. They always had a smile. They knew they were hurting. Today, we can actually, Today we can actually be proud and say our national anthem, once, stand and sing of Zambia proud and free, land of joy and unity. That's what he said, land of joy and unity. May God bless our country. May God bless this leader, and may God give him guidance to deliver for us. That's all we need. We need deliverance. Look at the pandemic. Look at what is happening. General, you know how difficult it was for us to even raise a little bit fund for our country. We don't need to do all that, but we did it because our country was suffering. Our health sector is gone. Our education sector is gone. Where are we? We are nowhere. But this is hope. These are tears of joy for me. I have a very strong affinity to Zambia. I was born, bred. I owe my education to Kaunda. He gave us a free education. I was blessed to be, I was one of those privileged to go further, do my studies abroad, like many of us in the diaspora. Now is our time from the diaspora and from wherever we are to contribute back to Zambia, and that is my only message. So it was a time of joy. It was time for sadness as well, and it was time for reconciliation, to reflect, to see what our new incoming leader has said today. If you dissect what he said many things apart from the element of forgiving people's damage that did to him, but he also mentioned that those that were culpable, who did go out of hand, they will be accountable for, and they have to be, rightly so, because those are sovereign wealth. Unfortunately, to say, this is the fact. We all have to accept it. And going back to what Munsha said about the meeting of the previous leaders at His Excellency Rupiah Banda's place. Those photos said a lot of things. As they say in the English word, a photo says many stories. And the photo, when you see the new incumbent president, the new elected president of Zambia, how humble he was standing next to the outgoing one. From that picture, you want to please deduce who was more humble. That's all I'm saying. Just have to deduce from that. A man that gone through this. And, when I mentioned yesterday to Munsha on the program, the meeting of when HH went to RB, this was the reason. This is why he was called there, to facilitate this meeting, to show. And magnanimously, HH had gone. He could have said, I don't want to go. He won the election. There was nothing anybody could do. But that shows the caliber of this person. When Mandela called in, the Truth and Reconciliation committees, commissions, you saw what happened from there. You saw what came out. Yet, he sat with the people that actually tormented him. So much so, the jailer at Robben Island became his personal friend. So, today what we learned, today what I saw made me feel happy, made me feel that there is hope for our beautiful, beautiful country. There's a hope for our country because our country, the people, I'm talking about the general people everywhere, they are a beautiful lot. They love humor, they like life. Unfortunately, they found themselves in situation of abject poverty because of authorities that were in there. So God bless our country. God takes us to a new garden, new place, where we, as I said, can be the beacon for Africa in terms of economic development, political development, and social development. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, my brother from Chipata and in Leicester. It's when you watch HH speak, every word to him means exactly what he says. And watching him, even seeing the photographs with RB, I know when he stands in a certain position, I know that is humbling. He humbles himself. And that speech today was fantastic. Thank you so much, Mohammed. And I also want to thank you again, Mohammed, and the team which has worked on the COVID. People have forgotten about the COVID. we worked hard to try and save the lives of our people. So thank you, Mohammed, Frank, and the team which worked on that.
We are still working on it. We haven't stopped. We're still on it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to Memam.
Good evening.
How are you feeling, sir? How are you feeling today, sir?
We are functionizing Giga General. Yeah,
Good.
I think what I have to say is that the president's bar for our country has been raised.
Mm.
And this is what people didn't want because of certain things that they knew already that this guy is something else. Yeah, and I wouldn't want to compare this man with another man or another president. He is his own man, because the moment we compare him with another person, you know, he has his own uniqueness. But what I'm seeing is a situation where, and I've told people again to say, I saw Magufuli. I was following the kingdom president of Tanzania. He was a great man. I can also make reference to Mwanawasa, our own. He was a great man. But what I see in this man, and I know that he will be above all this, and I was telling people that, mark my words, because of course we are not in the campaigning mode, but it has already happened. You know, it's always important. The biggest problem that African communities have is lack of, you know, they are finding it very difficult to judge the character of a person, because that is where we miss it. And we like pretending to be doing the right thing. But in the actual sense, we are not doing it. And the moment you pretend, the results you show, garbage in, garbage out. You can't pretend for so long. And this is why I am not, taken by that razzmatazz pictures that we saw there. You know, those are issues that, you know, that man knows what he has to do. And sometimes I know Bamusha was saying, I think what he said, Bamusha, was something that was making sense to me, to say, somebody must be able to humble themselves. And when you have made a mistake, you know, you don't get to be forced to apologize. And also, sometimes when you are head of state, it doesn't mean that you are above the law.
Mm.
The rule of law must be the one. The laws must govern the state. When you are the statesman, you're supposed to be the first one to be able to show that this, what we put in place, should be followed. You don't misbehave or try to abrogate the law. Then you want other people to follow the law. Don't contradict yourselves. It's always important that you are in line. You are setting an example. You are just another man, because people need to be led by other people. So when people entrust you with authority, they are not saying that you have to start abusing authority. There are a lot of people that have died because of certain negligences. You know, we don't need to take these things lightly. People must be able to account for what they've done, because they would have saved people's lives when they were in power. Under their watch, they were seeing things happening and they were enjoying and ignoring and not taking it. They're not interested in the people's lives. Already when you see, now there's a transition. We have the UPND in power. Look at the violence issues. The PF, they cannot take it on the streets to start fighting. You can tell that it was coming from, you know, above there. You know, if those people were violent, they could have still, you know, fighting on the street there. But you can see that it is supported by certain people at a certain stage. So we don't need that, and the man has to work, and every person who ever has committed crime must be brought to book. That is not revenge. No, it's not a revenge. You know, because the moment you start pretending to say, no, let's just see, you know what, no, people will continue doing wrong things and thinking that when you smile and do it, no, you need to make sure that you account for whatever you've done. And that is not vengeance. We need to ensure that people must be able, you have to set a standard to say there is no nonsense. We need to be able to serve. We are servants, as he said, not masters. We don't need absolute power. And we are hoping and trusting these MPs that have been elected, they have the potential to be able to work hand in hand with the president and not to give him absolute power. Because I've seen a situation where a member of parliament who are representing the constituencies, they pay homage. It's like they are just bootlicking to a man instead of governing together and stand for their people. Because the moment you stand for a constituency, there are a number of people that are depending on you. The unfortunate part in the Africa community, we don't understand what we stand for, why we are called honorables. There's a reason why that child who is not a constituency, they are depending on your voice when you are standing before these guys in the parliament. When you see the parliament is full, that is the full representation of the country. There is no way a president begin to dictate. They look at the situation. When they look at the MPs being weak and the aspect that I've noticed where people tend to buy up.
Can we be brief, sir? We still have some more people who want to come in, sir. Can you be brief and get to the point, please?
Okay, no, thanks, General. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I can see Mr. Nkwirimba there. I know we'll get to know each other. Thanks, Nkwirimba.
There are so many people waiting on the waiting room, sir. So thank you so much for your contribution. Before I proceed to Beauty, I just wanted to remind our viewers, we're still looking for your stars. Give us your stars so that we can continue giving you these programs. Let me read one or two comments, then I'll come to Beauty. Somebody called Livingstone Stone. ECL did not understand the difference between ruling and governing. And then somebody says, "Meman, you're on point." That is Morrison Mwemba. And Ida and Tombifuti Mubuso says, "Lungu must be brought to book, just like Zuma." Mubuso message received. Ali Chinzira says, "Definitely it should not end there. Lessons must be learnt as we preserve for the future." I'm sure there is referring to Lungu and all the people who committed crime under his regime. My view is very known. I want people who committed a crime to be punished. I have no qualms about that. I have no apology to make about that. Anybody who committed a crime, whether financial, any crime, should face the law. Peter Lengalenga says, HH in those pictures looked like this is a waste of time. I need to go and work within the country. And Lung was there laughing, trying to replace Freedom Skazwe. Oh no, come on, Lengalenga, spare us of that Freedom Skazwe guy. Lawrence Mumba, and yet this continued faking. He knows that the time has caught up with him. Very soon he will be dancing to it, just as he danced to Dununa Reverse. I think this is referring to the former president. Gideon Banda says, "Mr. Muhammad, that was profound. We love you very much." And somebody says, Michael Chibuye Kakula says, "Don't forget about the expired drugs and fake condoms." So those are the comments. And Musha, people are still requesting for a link. Can we repost the link, please? Those are so far the comments which I'm getting here. Let me go to Cheche, the last one. Rebecca Cheche. Cheche has shown us that there are men, and there are men in the country. The wisdom he has demonstrated is illuminating. To see these pictures today, standing with ECL, was remarkable. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Over to you, Beauty. How do you feel today, and what do you think? What do you want done from today for our country?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening here. Yeah, no, I feel great. And of course, it was an emotional day again, but all the pretense by Lungu, listen, we don't even want to waste time there. The one thing that I'd like to say to you, Mr. Chipakwaku and Mr. Musha, you've done a great job. You know, no matter what, you know, you've just been, you've just done the greatest job ever, and we appreciate you for everything that you've done. Keep up the good work. I agree with everybody on this panel. I think we should go after anybody that had a hand in misusing public funds. When I look at the 17 sustainable development goals that the UN set up for 2015 to 2030, the first 4 things that I'm going to talk about are: 1, they were to eradicate poverty by year 2030. There was nobody that should go to sleep hungry. So the second one was zero hunger. And the third one was good health and well-being. The fourth one was quality education. I'll ignore the fifth one and go to the sixth one, which is clean water and sanitation. We have, the reason why we have those donors is because of all these things that we're talking about. They've donated funds to Zambia to make sure that all those 4 things are taken care of. Where is the money? Where are the reports? We're getting very close to 2030. Are you telling me that we're not going to have hunger in Zambia? We don't want to see any of that. We want to move on. We want the EU to have a clean report by 2030. And I know with HH, we can do it. What has happened in the past has happened now. It's time for us to look forward and move on and make sure that all these things are taken care of. That has to happen. We have the money. We've been given the money all the time. Political prisoners. For me, HH has come into power. I mean, the president-elect has been, he's there now. When he's sworn in, the first thing that he should look at is those political prisoners. There's no reason for Mr. Chipakpak and I not to have different opinions, right? So if we differ in our opinions, then I have to go to prison? My goodness gracious me. That has to be taken care of. I think HH should feel the way. He's a human being anyway. He's told us all this. The international community already knows this. Miss Scotland, the one who helped HH come out of prison, was already there. All this has been communicated. This has got to stop. It doesn't mean that if people have different opinions, then one has to be jailed. No, democracy is what we want in Zambia. If rapists and murderers have been released in prison, why do we have those prisoners? Why do we have political prisoners sitting there? Rapists and murderers have been pardoned? Excuse me, The other thing that I want to talk about is mental health. The one thing that I find in Zambia is that we don't really believe in mental health as an education in the workplace, psychological safety, for psychological first aid. We need to go back to the ground. All those people that are suffering, like somebody talked about one gentleman that committed suicide because he was let go. And yet if we take care of everybody's mental health, we wouldn't have those fatalities that we have. We wouldn't have people killing themselves. People are being bullied in the workplace violence, respectful workplace. All those things have got to be taught in the workplace. If we had all those, we don't have that because we don't believe in it. But I hopefully HH is going to bring this on board because it's important to the human brain. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Beauty. You've touched probably 3 things which we really looked at when we were working on the manifesto. And for me, because I've been involved with international development for many years, Zambia missed 70% of its MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals. And at the rate we are going now, and the 10 years we have lost, we are likely to miss out on the SDGs. The SDGs, viewers, are the Sustainable Development Goals. We have to get rid of poverty by the year 2030. And that means investing in the rural communities, providing food and making sure that they're employed, providing education, providing health services, providing clean water. And Beauty, I can assure you that our manifesto, those were the targets we're looking at. Our manifesto was really driven by the guidelines of the Sustainable Development Goals. Because the MDGs, we missed them. We missed the MDGs. Zambia missed all the MDGs.
Mm-hmm.
And we will make sure, I know that we have lost 10 years, but we will make sure that poverty is tackled. We will make sure that education, more money goes to education than not going to guns and tear gas. We will make sure that more money goes to water, clean water. We will make sure that more decent jobs are created. You've also touched something which is very, very important: political prisoners. That one is a foregone conclusion. We've got too many people who are in prison for political reasons, and I think HH will act. I can assure you, he will act very, very quickly on that. And then the issue of mental health, it's a very important issue, especially when families have no food, they are stressed, they have no jobs, they've lost their jobs. This COVID situation has actually made it worse with mental health. But Zambian government has no strategy for mental health at places of work. So these are very, very important points Beauty have raised, and our viewers. And for me, I was very, very clear when we started working on our manifesto that we had specific documents which were guiding us. One of them was the 17 SDGs, 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the UN. One of them was the declaration, the Africa Declaration on Agriculture, what we call the Maputo Declaration, that we must spend 10% of our budget on agriculture, at least 10% on education. Those are the things which are guiding us, and you will see this happening under HH. It's going to happen because it's in our manifesto. And for me, if we invest more in education, invest more in agriculture, we can then cut down on poverty. We can then cut down on malnutrition. Malnutrition is serious in Zambia. People don't want to talk about it. We have a very undernourished country. People are malnourished in Zambia, but people don't want to talk about that. So let's move on to my big brother, the headman of the village. Wankurimba, what's your take, sir? How are you feeling today?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the title of headman. I accept it. For me, it's really hard to express how I am feeling right now. Perhaps overwhelming may be an appropriate word. Overwhelming because when I see what reaction people that when HH was going out campaigning, you look at those hordes of people that were excited to see him, excited to hear the message that he had for them. The expectations are very high.
Yeah.
Expectations are very high everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit overwhelmed. How are we going to meet those expectations? I think where we are now is like, okay, development is not a straight line.
Yeah.
It's not, it's you go up, then you dip, go up again, you dip, you go up, you dip. Going back, I see this kind of expectation the way it was in 1991. Yeah, of course, with our forefathers, the Kaundas, the Kumbulas, and all those, they had a common cause of independence, and they rallied everybody around that cause of independence. And so we can say people were excited because they are looking forward to becoming independent. That goal was achieved. And then in the early years of the UNIP government, a lot of work was done. The foundation was set. The foundation for development was set. But of course, because of other factors like the support of the Liberation War, we were affected by that ourselves, because a lot of resources went into fighting those liberation wars for our neighbors. And partly that, that brought us to, instead of continuing in our growth continuum, we sort of came down.
Yeah.
And so at the time that the multipartism was coming in, we were at the downward curve. And at that point, we began to go up again. So the euphoria we saw in 1991, where people had so much expectation of what was to come, and the MMD government tried to take us to a certain level. But then, again, we came to a point where PF came. Actually, we went down again.
Yeah.
We went down. And so where we are now, we are at a point where we should begin to go up. And the coming of HH is giving us that hope that we should begin to go up again. But the prospect of meeting the expectations of our population is daunting. That's where I feel a bit overwhelmed. But there is hope, because what HH has done today is to set the stage of what is to come, beginning to set the stage, giving that hope some kind of meat to read, so that people can begin to see that this man does not just have a vision, but he has a way of fulfilling that vision.
Yeah.
And now my challenge is, how many of us Zambians are going to adopt that vision, so that he can have a citizenry that identifies itself with that vision, a citizenry that is ready to work with him in the next 5 to 10 years, so that that vision can be realized. Maybe not totally, but at least what will have happened in these years will be leading us towards that vision. And that's where there's a lot of work for all of us. There's a lot of work for all Zambians, both at home and abroad.
Yeah.
And our expertise will be required. Yeah. And I hope that the UPND Alliance government is going to be open enough to bring in other people, share the vision, and count on others that have experience, that have competence, that have the love of this country, so that strategy that has been formulated, that manifesto that has been formulated, will be used as a guide to get us where we need to go. But it will require everybody.
Yeah.
It will require the I hope that this government is not going to be closed to outside ideas. You know how we behave sometimes. We behave like it's just a job. Okay, here's a new government, and people are lining up for jobs, and the job is an end in itself. Not really to say, how are we going to contribute to the achievement of the vision of this government, this country. So that's why I'm a bit overwhelmed, but there is hope, because I think HH is going to provide a direction, but you need all of us, to respond, to that the direction that is going to lead. And I think the potential is there. The potential is huge. I'm praying that in the next 2 to 3 years, people will be able to see a difference the fight for corruption, the fight against corruption should be real. In the early, just within the first 2 years or so, there must be a difference. People have been talking about fighting corruption all along. And, it's like just scratching the surface. The corruption that we have experienced in the last 6 years is disgusting. It's just disgusting. And that needs to be arrested.
Thank you,
because we are not a poor country.
Thank you so much.
We have just had the poor leadership. We are so rich, and there is enough for everybody, and we need the leadership that is going to harness what we already have, so that every Zambian citizen is going to benefit. Not because they'll be receiving handouts, but because we'll prepare each and every person, to work for themselves, so that they can be a better lot, not from handouts, but from working hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Limba. Thank you. You have touched very, very important points there. I think those of you who were listening last night, I said, and throughout this week, I was saying the issue of managing expectation is a serious issue which the new government will have. And I've repeated that to our leaders as well, in our team meetings, in our committee meetings. It's going to be a very, very big issue. We have to manage expectations from our people. And last night, I also said one thing, that we need a paradigm shift. Our people themselves must change the way they think, they do things. You've just given one example, Kwilimba. Everybody thinks they must receive from the government. They must be, to them empowerment means being given by somebody. Our people must start thinking that they can create, they can be empowered to create things for themselves, wealth for themselves. So we need this paradigm shift in every Zambian to think differently. When it comes to the manifesto, I was in the manifesto team. We have already published that manifesto in all the tribes. It was just the police and the insults which we're getting. We didn't have the time to finish distributing it. But we want to send this manifesto to the Lozis, to Bukas, to northern languages, to the center, to northwestern, so that people can read for themselves. One of the things they kept on saying, our PF, was that UPND had no manifesto, because they were just afraid at reading that manifesto. They read it, but they knew that they didn't want people to read it. That's why they said they no manifesto. The only thing they could say was it was an imported manifesto. No, there was nothing important there. It's a new document from scratch. It was not a 2016 manifesto. That document is scratch. We wrote it to scratch. People from the diaspora contributed, people at home, experts, we had committees of expertise contributing. The last comment I would say, Wakwilimba, HH has said it many times. The diaspora is the 11th province of Zambia. He has said it many, many times. And we have been collecting a database of all the Zambians, about 80,000 Zambians abroad, different skills. Majority of them are medical. We are not saying come back home. We are saying help your country. If you are a specialist, use Zoom to help UTH, to help Levi Manawasa to operate better. If you are a lecturer, sit down and lecture some of the students and teach your fellow lecturers and give them more knowledge. These days, everything is on the internet. Connect Zambia to the best universities in this country so that we can uplift our country. That is the role of the diaspora. HH made it very, very clear. The 11th province of Zambia is the diaspora. After all, we we transfer almost $500 million a year back to Zambia. Me personally, I don't know how many dollars I send back to my relatives to try and support them every month. So altogether, that's a very important group of people with skills. So we will continue to advise in our small way. that the diaspora must be utilized. The skills of the diaspora must be utilized. The networks of the diaspora must be utilized. We have got friends here who want to invest. We have got money sitting in their banks. They would rather invest somewhere. We have friends here who want to go on a holiday. They always ask me, Norman, is your country safe? That's the first question they ask. So the diaspora are supposed to be the first ambassadors of Zambia wherever we are. And HH is very happy. And I can tell you, there will be somebody appointed to be responsible for diaspora. That one I can tell you. I don't know who this person is, but there will be somebody appointed to be responsible for the diaspora in the new government. So,
General, can I just come in quickly, and then I've got to go.
Yes, please, because we are winding up. I just want you quickly, and then I'll introduce a very controversial topic, and then I want to see the reaction. Go ahead,
okay.
Frank.
Yeah, so for me, I think that's a very important question. It's not about time we ask. I think it was John F. Kennedy said one thing: don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for a country. Because most of the time we wait for somebody to come and bring that development. We never ask ourselves, what skills have we got? What can I give back? What can I contribute? And it's important we ask that ourselves that question. What can I give back? What do I know? So that we take part in that development. And General talks about the paradigm shift. We have to go away. The government is there to facilitate an environment so people can earn a living. The government is not there to give you money. And this is where we have to make a shift. As a new government comes in, we have to know that President Hichilema is not going to be going around Zambia taking money out of the pocket. He's going to facilitate an environment where people can build businesses and thrive. And that's where we have to go as a people in the country and say, how can we use this environment to develop ourselves? As I said, President Hichilema is not going to be going around there giving you money, but you have to use the environment, the facilities that are going to be provided in the next year, in the next 2 years, to be able to earn a living for your family. That's what I want to say, General.
Thank you, Frank. Before I bring this controversial question, I also want to tell our viewers and our panelists, when we were writing the manifesto, we looked at the comparative advantage of each province and said, each province, what resources does it have? And what should they do? What facilities do they need in order to fully utilize the resources they have in the province? Because Luapula is not Kaoma. Neither is Siavonga like Mumbo. Each province has its own comparative advantage. Anybody who studied economics, business, you understand what I'm talking about. The people in the north have got a lot of water. Let's utilize that water to create wealth. The people in Western Province have got a lot of sand and a lot of good water, a lot of beef, a lot of rice. Let's utilize that sand and make glass if we can. The people in the north, you have got plenty of water. Let's utilize. The people in the Eastern Province, you have got soils, you've got the skills to be able to feed the whole of the region. And you've got Malawi next to you, you've got Mozambique next to you, you've got Tanzania next to you. So when we're planning our manifesto, we were looking at the comparative advantage of each province and saying, what do they do to sustain themselves, create jobs, produce things, and then the industries. Copper belt, for instance. Copper belt should be geared on copper, yes, but number two sector of copper belt should be agriculture. Why? Because Congo is next to them. We should have industries, milling plants. We should have stock feed plants in copper belt. Why? Because the Congolese will buy everything. So that's how we've been planning we planned our policy. That's how we planned our policy for Southern Province, for Western Province, for Eastern Province, for Northwestern Province. Do not be moving. Not every province can produce maize. Some of them can produce cassava in a bigger way. And cassava can be used for industrialization and create jobs. So Kulimba, you've touched a very, very important subject here. And that's how we are approached our manifesto. Our manifesto is to look at the comparative advantage of each province. Mohammed will tell you that there's no province in Zambia can beat Eastern Province with groundnuts. No, none.
Chilimbana.
Because Chalimbana, that's what they've been doing for years. They know how to grow groundnuts. So if Eastern Province can be made to grow groundnuts and supply cooking oil, supply peanut butter, and export to Europe confectionery industries, Zambia can earn a lot of foreign exchange. We've got 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I heard this morning, as I was trying to struggle to sleep, a statement from Tutu Angulube saying, "Congratulations to the president-elect. I am sincerely apologize for whatever has happened. I am not going to petition, but I would rather work with the incoming government, probably joining the new government." I can see some people shaking their heads. I can see, I hear there are so many of these people who are now saying they want to apologize and they want to work with the new coming government. Antonio is not one of them. He said we should cut something from him. We are prepared to. I will give you 1 minute to react to that. I start with Gladys.
You very much know my answer. It's a big no.
Thank you.
A big no. That's just it. I can't even add anything, but just a big no. No recycles.
Father Pombo.
Absolutely no, please. Thank you very much. Absolutely no. Just as I think many artists, musicians. I've seen some musicians, some videos now going on the internet. Some musicians and saying, well, this guy is good, is great, it's beautiful to work with him. I think we have to, people who have made big mistakes, they need to cool down and keep quiet for some time. Keep silent for some time. When you have involved yourself in a very big scandal, it is not respectful to start talking immediately after. I think they need time, a year, 5 years, maybe I can suggest that. It will be a very good time. 5 years of silence, and probably thereafter they can start. So please, absolutely no. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed.
I tend to agree with everybody. We do not need a recycled politician joining us, because the thing is, HH has got a good experience in the opposition and has always had a formidable team. And that team will be now at action. They're already in action. They've already been starting in action from, as General will tell you. So I don't think those people, they can be in the peripherals just to clap for us. That's what we need. We need just people to clap for us. We need Vavezulas, and they can be our Vavezulas. That's all.
Thank you so much.
You know, there's a lot to be done in this country. It's not only working in government where one can be useful. You know, yes, let them go and work in other areas which will benefit the country, but not to hope that they can go and work with this government, because I believe the environment is going to be different. This government is not a place where people should want and go and work because they want to fill their pockets.
Mm.
This government is a government where people should go and serve, not to be served. So people who are rushing and saying, I'm ready to work with this government, they think that it will be business as usual. They will be going there to make money for themselves.
No.
If they want to make money for themselves, let them go and do other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For Tutu Angulube, for Antonio Mwanza, for Amos Chanda, for all those noisy characters like Emmanuel Mwamba, don't even try. If you want to make money, go and get a field somewhere near Mumbwa or near Katete and try and grow some maize. I think that would be very good. If not, go fishing. Probably it's a good business.
General, those people are from the what I call the museum of mediocrity. They've shown the mediocrity in their government, and you can't have that. You can't have those people, the way they treated the people of Zambia, the way they can't just think they can shift to another government and do that. The time's up. Time's up where politicians think they're there to make money. They're there to serve first and foremost, and the time is up. And the answer is no.
Thank you. The musicians, the same thing. Go and sing. Go and see Aleborera Pampando. Go and repeat it in the studio wherever you want to. HH doesn't want songs. HH wants action from now. That's what is going to grow our economy. That's what is going to help Zambia export. That is what is going to make sure that we have medicines in the hospital, books in schools. That is what will create more jobs. It's not dancing from musicians. They can remain with their data from yesterday's government. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are also getting reports that some people are hiding government vehicles, changing them from GRZ to personal vehicles. I just want to take advantage of this situation to warn all those who are trying to do that, because they are being watched. We are being given information coming from the civil service, from the government departments. Do not take a government vehicle and turn it into your vehicle, because you will be arrested. Do not try and drive a government vehicle from Dola to Congo, because you will be arrested. If you want to run away, and if you committed a crime, please just remain in the country. Don't try and run away. Because we hear some people have already fled. Don't run away if you have not committed any crime, because Zambia is there for you. So I would like to take advantage of this broadcast as well to say to Zambians, help this man, because he is an honest man. The incoming president, and the vice president are genuine people. Give him the chance to assemble the best team which can help him. And I'm very, very sure that very soon he will be announcing the team which will help him. Give that team the support you need. And I know that team will be made of people who have an open door policy, which means if you've got an idea, you can phone them, you can phone these people and say, this is an idea, what do you think about it? That will be the policy of the new government, open door. This new government is about service to our people. It's not a master sort of behavior like what we're seeing in Mr. Lungu and these arrogant ministers. This government, HH is going to demonstrate, he has already demonstrated that is there to serve. So I would like to thank Frank, first of all, Munsha, Frank, and Gladys, Father Pombo for coming on tonight, my brother from my mother in Chipata, Mohammed, Vankulimba for coming on tonight. Thank you so much for participating. Let's continue, praying for our country so that the transition is smooth. I can assure you that all is well. And I can even proudly say what I told you a few weeks ago. Our army is so professional. I think you now agree with me. That is why we are where we are. Because when they went into the streets, they only went there to make sure that the elections were okay, nothing else. So from Bonnie, Scotland, on behalf of Musha, I would like, and the whole team at Kabakwe to TV, I would like to say good night and see you tomorrow. And I can also officially announce that I'm packing my bags. I'm going to Zambia to go and help if I can in any way.
Welcome back.
I am going to be digging the trenches to build a new foundation for our country. I'll carry a peak with me. And then overall, thank you so much and good night, Zambia.
Good night.
Muende Bino.
Muende Bino. Good night, people.
Good night. Nice chatting up.
Yeah, good night.
Are we still on?
Can you hear? Oh my God, what did I do?
I don't
Oh,
know.
sorry.
Is that Gladys? Oh, okay.
It is Gladys. Sorry, I didn't switch off my mic.
Yeah, same here as well. Okay. Good night.
Okay. Okay. Good night. Thank you.